Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. We come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, these are interesting days, aren't they? I don't know about you, but I look around and I remember that old saying about, deal with what you can control and overlook the stuff you can't. It goes something like that. And there's just so much going on in the world that we can't control. And then you have to accept the things you cannot change. I always kind of change that to you know uh, change the things I cannot accept kind of deal. That doesn't give you much peace, but anyway, on you go. Anyway, this radio show is brought to you by an organization called Million Kids, Million, millionkids.org. If you're new to this show, I hope you'll follow us. I hope you get involved. Go to millionkids.org, sign up for our newsletter. If you want a lot more in-depth training, you can do that by joining Facebook. We have Facebook, and it's IE Million Kids for Inland Empire Million Kids. And then we also have a private Facebook page that you can join. You have to be admitted. There's about almost 500 people on there now. I'm amazed. But these are people that I meet as I go out and train across the nation, people that want to be leaders in combating things like child sex trafficking, adult sex trafficking, social media exploitation, CSAM, child sexual abuse materials, and like that. So I run that private Facebook page, and you just go on and ask to be admitted. And there, maybe once a day or so, depending on my speaking schedule, I will post new information that is being published out there about new apps. I just did one yesterday on the app Wiz, Wizz, which is not an app a teenager ought to ever be on, in my opinion. It is one of those like the old Omegle app, Omegle. In that app, all of them are talk with strangers. Another one is, what's that other one? Chat, Emerald Chat, it is. And these are not apps that are appropriate for our teenagers. Actually, I don't think they're appropriate for much of anybody, but that's just my tainted opinion since I work in combating exploitation. But this is how you learn about what is going on in the world. So, the world of combating exploitation. So, if you want to do that, just go to Facebook and go to Million Kids Supporters and then ask to join. But don't stop there. I need you to go on and turn on your notifications for Million Kids Supporters so you will be notified every time I post a new story that is on there. So I hope that you will do that. Well, I have it on my heart to start a series of shows today that will go on for the next couple, 3 weeks at least. And so I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But what I want to do is talk about this new phenomena that is taking place where so many incredible young people are taking their own life because they get in trouble online. And that is just really, really heartbreaking. So I have been studying the lives of each of these kids and their cases, and we're going to take a look at them over the next 2 to 3 weeks, the various kids, because their lives meant something, and we need to take care of that and make sure that you understand how these kinds of things take place. Before I go into that, though, I just want to thank everyone that participated in the Million Kids Foster Bedding Drive. We do that every January going into February. You can still participate if you want, but the big load has been taken over there, and what an event that was. I just want to thank all of you that donated for that drive. You see, foster kids, if you look at the percentage of kids that are in commercial sex out there, 60% of those kids come from the foster care system. And I met many foster kids who are brilliant kids. They're resilient kids. They are determined kids. And then there are some of them that are kind of beaten down and frustrated and lost. And it's very, very easy for one of those young people to get online and meet the wrong person and get sucked into the bad parts of life. So, one of the things that we do is that we collect bedding, and this is what you have been doing. It is a brand new comforter, two matching sheets, top and bottom, a pillowcase, a pillow, and then a decorator item that goes with it. And boy, have we had a great time doing that. We had so many, it was 4 carloads that we had to take over to deliver them this year. And just amazing. Some of them were Spider-Man. We did Spider-Man. That was really cool. We did Barbie on there. And they're for all age groups. Some of them for the older teenagers that are starting to transition out of the foster care system and get their own apartment. And they need things. You know, if you want to ever sponsor a transitional youth, let me know, because we can do that for you also. We're connected and we can get that into you. I'll just share with you a little bit about what this is all about. Imagine your first night in foster care. And I don't know if you're 3 or 2 or 14. Your life has changed forever. Everything you knew, everything around you, everything that was yours is suddenly on hold as they take you out of your place and put you into another place. And so it is one of our passions to make sure that when they arrive, they get something really fun, really cool, and really theirs. And so sometimes we get pillows like rabbits and do the whole thing up with rabbits, or we'll do dinosaurs and like that. Anyway, you folks that support the work of Million Kids, you really outdid yourself this year. It took me 4 loads to get it all over there, and they are absolutely gorgeous. And I just want to thank you for doing that. People maybe don't understand what Million Kids does, but we are all about prevention and intervention. If we can make somebody's life so that they won't get violated, or they'll be able to recognize when they're about to be blackmailed or extorted or recruited into maybe an underground world, recruited into drug trafficking or sex trafficking. And if we can bring the knowledge base to these people, here's what I know about kids. They don't want to be violated, but they are looking to us as an adult to come alongside of them, give them that strength, give them that cognitive reasoning to recognize when they're about to walk into a trap. It's an interesting thing, because if you watch animals, okay, Mama Bear and her cubs, Mama teaches them what is danger. Don't go in there, that kind of thing. Well, somehow in a world of social media, that drops off. And part of that is because kids know more about social media than we do. But we need to fix this, and we need to be able to come alongside of our kids, whether they're foster kids or our kids, and educate for them. So we do Million Kids Missing Kids. We send out flyers for millions and millions and millions of flyers, and your donations make that happen. You know, there is nothing scarier than a parent who has a 13-year-old girl or guy that suddenly disappeared, and they met somebody online and poof, they're gone. And so we get involved in a lot of that, of getting those flyers out there. We do a lot of prevention and intervention education, so you know what to watch out for. And that's what the next 2 or 3 shows are going to be about here. We get involved with real cases. We serve as the training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Human Trafficking Task Force. And I'm telling you, Riverside County has the best task force in the nation. It works through the sheriff department, and we have men and women, amazing women, that are out there dealing with teenage girls to help them understand why they don't want to fall in love with a particular guy, or what happens when you get involved in trafficking. We've written a couple of books that you can purchase off our website or Amazon. And we have a movie out there that I hope you and your family will see, and that is called Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. Go home tonight. If you have children or grandchildren that are using the internet, go home tonight, go on Amazon, iTunes, or Apple TV, pay the money, and watch Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. It will change your vision of what is happening on the internet and make you much more informed and prepare your family the future that's taking place in the world of evolving technology. It is a bit scary at times. This is Opal Singleton, Exploited Crimes and Technology. We're up against a break. Be right back.
Are you tired of eating at the same old restaurants? Let me tell you about a fabulous Italian restaurant we found in Riverside, Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant. Their caprese salad is exquisite with candied balsamic glaze. All of their sauces are special recipes using only the best olive oils. The salads are fresh and healthy. They offer a wonderful array of pastas, including shrimp scampi, capellini, bolognese, and lasagna. They're famous for their gourmet pizza, and you can order online for takeout or have a special date for dining in with family and friends. Mamma Mia's caters special occasions and host private events. You have to try it out. Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant, located at 10971 Magnolia Avenue in Riverside, 1 block north of La Sierra on Magnolia. That's Mamma Mia's in Riverside. Be sure to tell Michael, Alex, or Joseph you heard it on AM 590 The Answer.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. I'm the host of your show. I happen to be the president and CEO of Million Kids, but there's a bunch more people that work with Million Kids than me. And many of them have ministries of their own, and they do work with us. And we really, really appreciate that. One of the issues that I am absolutely passionate about is an issue called sextortion. We were talking about that movie before the break. So I spent 6 years of my life raising money. It was one of the hardest things I ever did, by the way. I must have been out of my mind. Who made me think I could do that? But it wasn't me. It was God that did that, quite frankly. I could never have pulled that off on my own. And we also had a great producer, Stephen and Maria Peak, husband-wife team, who had teenagers of their own. It's the only movie that has ever been filmed inside of Homeland Security's ICAC unit. That is Internet Crimes Against Children's unit. And these are the people at Homeland Security, because of all the stuff that's going on at the border, they sometimes get a bad rap. But these people are incredible people. They work with our local law enforcement, whether it's the sheriff or your police department, and they have a group, an organization within their organization called ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children. They are the ones that investigate these very difficult cases. Sometimes they are pretending to be a 13-year-old so that they can lure in and identify who the pedophiles are that are trying to meet up with our kids. They run the backgrounds. Sometimes it's here local, sometimes it's across the United States. And they investigate those crimes. And they allowed us to make a movie at their headquarters. And it is partially the story of a man named Daniel Harris. Daniel Harris, this is in the movie, by the way, that you're going to see. Daniel Harris was a Top Gun pilot, really a good looking man, sharp, top of his class. He had everything going for him. He had a beautiful wife and just a beautiful family and making plenty of money, flying around the world as a Top Gun pilot. But he was blackmailing and seducing 14-year-old girls all over the world. And he ended up being found out and arrested, and he ended up getting a 50-year prison sentence, in which case he contacted the Chinese agency and tried to sell off the secrets to I think it was the F-16, if they would help break him out of prison. So this is all part of the movie that you can see about how all this takes place. It also has the story of Sierra in it, who was blackmailed for over a year, and she had no idea she was being blackmailed by 12 different men. They knew where she lived. They knew where her mother worked. They were just taunting her and teasing her all over the place. So the movie is called Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. So I've cared about sextortion for a long time. That is a combination of the word sex and extortion. And what happens is it's usually our kids. Now, it can be you. And as the future advances with artificial intelligence, AI, where they're able to lop a photo off of maybe your head and put it on a nude body, we're going to all be victims of this sooner or later. It is a very sophisticated version as this becomes global. And that's what I want to talk to you about in the next 2 to 3 sessions that we have here on the radio show. What is happening is that, and in fact, this is one of the books I wrote called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. For the first time ever in history, our entire world is connected by internet, 5G, high-speed internet. And it's going to places that have never dreamed that they would have internet, places where there are a lot of very poor people. And they get these little devices, little phones. They're not iPhones. They call them same, but different. They're knockoff phones. But what it is doing is connecting very poor people all over the world. Now, that can work 2 ways. In one way, it can make those very poor people vulnerable because people will come to them and say, hey, you want to make a lot of money? I can get you a job in the U.S., just raise several $1,000s and we'll get you in across the border and you'll make a lot of money. And the whole thing is a lie. And it's all about cartels that are using poor people to want to come to the U.S., and they pay them for smuggling money. And smuggling is millions of dollars business. Then also, they will bring them in with the idea that they're going to have a really wonderful job and make lots of money. And if you're living on the streets of the Ivory Coast, that sounds really, really good. Because why can't you have that money that everybody else has? So technology is going to connect us all. And I see very little being done about educating the public about how this works and the impact of that. And that's been one of my missions for the last couple, 3 years. One of the reasons this is so important is that it literally puts the devices in the hands of poor people in Nigeria and the Ivory Coast and Pakistan who can now reach your child directly, know all the followers your child has on any particular app, and even be able to access them at 3 a.m. if your kid sleeps with the phone. And people are not talking about the impact of this, and we should do that starting immediately. because we are seeing an entire new breed of sextortion going on. I call it foreign national telemarketing sextortion. And what is happening is these people are absolutely brutal, and our kids are tender-hearted and unprepared to stand against the onslaught of being taken on by a Nigerian telemarketing company. And we are losing some of our most brightest kids, some of the most wonderful kids. And what I've started to do is do a study of who these people are, who the victims were, what led them to be vulnerable, any comments that the parents want to make along with it, and who are the perpetrators. And I want to begin over the next 2 to 3 weeks to do a series of these kinds of things where you can see exactly what it looks like so that you can make sure that your children and your grandchildren are not victims of this kind of thing. It is simply heartbreaking what is happening. Now, I've trained against sex trafficking for a long time, and many victims of sex trafficking are already living on the edge. They were foster kids or homeless kids or pregnant kids or runaway kids or kids from broken homes or kids that are more easily influenced because they have a hole in their heart and they want somebody to love them and care for them. And that's exactly how sex trafficking starts here in the US. And that's why we do all the work that we do for those at-risk kids. But what is happening here with the sextortion, the global sextortion that I'm talking about? These are not kids on the edge. These are some of the most responsible kids you've ever seen, from two-parent households, loving families, goal-oriented kids who want to be something and be somebody, and poof, they end up taking their own lives. And this is happening right in front of the parents, right in front of the family. And when it's all over, it leaves the parents and the family saying, what did we do wrong? How can we fix this? How can we make sure no other child goes through this? And it's an interesting conversation, and that's why I'm going to start this series this week. We'll probably do it at least 2 more weeks. Each week, we're going to take one of these cases and we're going to look at it. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about how I do research, because this is where I get my material. Everything I do is based on real cases. I look at a case and I go, what happened here? Who is the victim? What can we do so there won't be another victim like him or her? What can we learn about the technology that they're using, and how do we educate so kids recognize the danger of that particular technology? Who is the perpetrator, and what is the driving force in all of this? And how are they operating that we can understand it so we can stop it? And then what can I share with law enforcement? So I'm going to use that very same tactic on some of these cases over the next 2 or 3 weeks as we look at some of the kids that ended up losing their own lives over a Nigerian telemarketing company or a Pakistani predator. And so I hope you'll stay with us. We're going to get started right in the next section. This is Opal Singleton. We're up against that break, so stay with us.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello, welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. I hope you'll follow us at millionkids.org. If you want to write to me and share something with me, you can do that at Opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org. So what is happening is the entire world gets connected by high-speed internet. So that gives access around the world in ways that we have never had it before. I sometimes laugh that, only since the Tower of Babel has God allowed the entire world to be connected. And I'm not sure it's going to end any more positively, quite frankly, than the Tower of Babel. But, a little humor here. What is happening is that poor people all over the world now have access to 5G high-speed internet. And there is a huge amount of corruption in many of these very poor countries. In fact, that's one reason they're poor, is that the government is corrupt, and they take everything from the people. And so imagine yourself living in maybe Nigeria or Myanmar or Cambodia or Pakistan, and you're living on $4 or $5 a day. And suddenly, all around you, people have technology, and the wealthier kids are playing video games online, just like they do all over the world. But you can't do that because you don't have the equipment or the income. On top of it, you are very poor because there's almost no work, legitimate work in your community. And if anybody does get the money, then the cartels come along and take it away. So what is happening in these environments is that there will have people who go out and get the poor kids and say, you want to play video games for a living. Well, who wouldn't want to do that? Okay. And they then began to line up, and they actually have quotas. They put their kids online to pretend to be a 14-year-old kid, a cute little girl to our kids. And this is taking place in all kinds of environments, in apps like Kik or TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat is a huge one, video games, Discord, Roblox, all of those kinds of things that are out there, your PUBG games. And so if you think about what is happening with your child, they're no longer talking in the environment you're probably in, where you know 40 people and you share some information. No, they are on the World Wide Web, and they can be accessed by the entire world. And, some of those people are going to be good people, and some of those people are going to be crooks in a bad, bad way. And some of those crooks won't care if your child lives or dies, or if your child gets exploited. And in fact, that's the name of the game, is get us before we get them kind of thing. Now, I think this is an important conversation to have with your children. I hope you'll share this information with your children, because your children are the first generation that can reach the entire world, but they're also the first generation where the entire world can reach them. But then this gets even a little bit more intense and nitty-gritty when you find out They can only reach your child. They can also access if your child's not living in a private world, which most of them are not, 95% of us are public in our social media. They can go in and get the list of all the people that follow you on Instagram, or they can get all the information of all your followers on TikTok. So it's, two-way communication, and they can go in and access a lot of data about you, and they will. So what will happen is one of those people will pretend to be a cute little 14-year-old girl. This is really affecting young males, mainly 13 to 17 years old. And the end result are these kids panic, just panic, and they end up taking their own lives. This is why I want to do this series. I want to talk about who these kids were. And I'm taking this from public data. I'm quoting some of the parents that are on there. And the one we're going to do today is Tevin Tobler. He was 16 years old and he was out of Utah. And I lived in Utah for quite a long time. And so I know where he was from. And just the salt of the earth people. And so we're going to start to look at Tevin's life so that you can kind of get a feel for this, and maybe you can give me some insight. You're welcome to write to me at opal@millionkids.org. But here are some general observations before I start in with about Tevin Tobler's life. Some general observations looking at multiple of these cases. Most of these kids were exceptionally responsible kids, exceptional, almost straight A students. Some of them were even perfectionists who set very high goals for themselves. And there's no sign of prior trauma that we can see in most of the victims. Now, that isn't true of all victims, but most of the victims. I say that because in sex trafficking, the bulk of sex trafficking victims were previously violated. But that isn't the case in these sextortion cases. They are uber responsible kids, just some of the most amazing kids you would ever see, top of their class, homecoming kings, football stars, debate stars. And many of them were very goal oriented. They knew what they wanted to do. And we were taking a look at that as, is it this intense set of responsibility that when they get trapped by a predator from overseas, that brings them down? So most of them are from intact families, not all, but some of them are. They are well past puberty in most of the cases. So they're already, starting to show good signs of adult cognitive decision processes. I think that might be one of the traps, because once they start to get 15, 16, 17, the parent quits checking the phone, 18, because they're showing signs of responsibility. Maybe impacts a decision for suicide because they felt they were old enough to be responsible for self, and they had made a life-destroying mistake. Also, that age may have a false sense of being safe and knowing if you're going to be catfished. This word catfished means that you are duped, if you will, online. You think you're talking to one person, but you're really talking to the others. And so as we begin over the next few weeks looking at these cases, one of the things that we want to take a look at is this kind of feeling of confidence of, I'll know, Mom, if it's a predator. I'll know if it's a bad guy, except they don't. And most of us do not when we get duped online. Several of the victims wrote notes to their family apologizing, meaning they felt they wanted to apologize for their actions, that they felt what they had done was they were responsible for it. And that's an interesting thing. It isn't, on the one hand, they're in trouble and not asking for help. And yet, as they're leaving these notes, they're saying how disappointed they are in themselves and how much they have let down their family. Many of them leave notes showing despair or futility, feelings of disappointment in themselves, and also self guilt and fear and panic. You can see that in almost every one of these cases that we've looked at. I think panic prevents a clear understanding of reality and what is happening, and I think that's true for all of us. You know, you're expecting bad news, and suddenly something comes to you, and you feel like it's out of your control, and you can't fix it, and you immediately look at the worst first instead of, where am I and how do I fix this? When panic takes over, it kind of obscures your sense of reality. You begin to project out possibilities that may not be real. A feeling of defeat. I can't win this, and it will never go away. 100% of the cases I looked at came out with, this is my only alternative because I can't get it out. I can't fix it. One of the most important things we can do as parents is sit with kids and say, I hope you never send a nude photo online or get your photo taken. But if you do, we will fix it together. Now, I hope you never do, but if you do, I hope you'll come to me or to someone close to you, because it's going to take more than one person to fix it. Do not despair and get crazy on it. So there are a lot of similarities in these various cases. We're going to look at the Jordan DeMay case and the Tevin Tobler case and the Shailene Dixon case, and we're going to kind of compare about how they were trapped and what it looked like, what they were dealing with, and what we might be able to do so this never happens again to another young person. So my name is Opal Singleton. This show is brought to you by MillionKids.org. I hope you'll follow us. We're up against a break. Be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited: Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited: Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited: Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty, 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton with MillionKids.org. So starting today and going on for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we are going to look at specific cases. I've been studying them, and we're looking at it from a standpoint of what can we teach our kids so we can say never again? How do we bulletproof our kids if they're now being exposed to every third world country in the world? We got to get our kids toughened up or get them off the internet. And I don't think that's going to happen. So we better start with toughening up. Okay, I want to talk to you about this kid. This happened way back in 2019. He was one of the first ones that I saw. I saw the picture of him and his mom, and it just absolutely broke my heart. Tevin, it's spelled Tevan. His last name's Tobler, Tobler, if you want to look up his case. He was 16 years old, and he was living the good life with his family up in rural part of Utah, loving family. And he ended up taking his own life because he was being blackmailed over an explicit video that he had been sucked into, groomed by, seduced into sending that video. His perpetrator was from the Ivory Coast. And quite frankly, there is a huge amount of this taking place out of the Ivory Coast and Nigeria. Imagine losing your son to a Nigerian telemarketing company, especially one as brilliant and bright as this young man. So he's 16. His predator was posing as a young girl. Tevin had no history whatsoever of mental health problems. He had never taken drugs. He had lots and lots of friends. He was good looking. He was popular. He was charming. You can just see from his photos, he looks like an amazing young man that everyone would want for a son. Everyone was surprised when they heard this. I'm reading it from all the research that I have done. They had all say, not Tevin. He was an honor student. He was an undefeated wrestler on the wrestling team. He was on the varsity cross-country running team. He had years of his future planned out, college plans and plans of service. Now, he's an all-American boy next door, the kind of son everyone would have been proud of. Honor student, former president of National Junior Honor Society. He was active in his church, which in this case was the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is Mormon church. He loved the outdoors and prided himself on survival skills. He had made plans to go on a 50-mile backpacking adventure in the near future. So I now start to look at this case from what the investigating detective has to say about this case. This detective is John Pierce out of Davis County, Utah. When he started to look at it, he said Tevin was someone with no mental health history, no substance abuse, no suicide ideology. There were no known traumatic events to indicate any reason that this young man might take his own life. He had great grades in school. He was involved in athletics. He had lots of friends. The toxicology report was negative for all substances. He had a good home life and a wonderful family. So they started looking in after a few weeks after he passed away. The family, was totally upside down. And they say, well, maybe we ought to have his phone looked at. And his parents were struggling with this, but they turned the cell phones over to Investigator Pierce that we were talking with. When they did, they noticed that there was an unknown phone number that had texted Tevin more than 1,000 times, sometimes as frequently as every 30 seconds. So one of the big indicators here is once they have your photo in these foreign national telemarketing centers, they are absolutely relentless. They don't care about you. It is about getting your money. Now, there's a kind of sextortion blackmail where they want more photos from you, but this isn't that kind. This is all about third world countries making money for their poor people by seducing and exploiting our children. And there is very little conversation going on out there, which is why I am doing this. I want to repeat that. As soon as they got his photo and they started looking at his phone, they realized that someone had texted him more than 1,000 times, and sometimes as frequently as every 30 seconds. The sheriff's office processed Tevin's phone that was sitting in the Utah State Crime Lab. As they looked into it, the app had been downloaded. A female, or someone posing as a female, on the other end of the app had encouraged him to send an explicit video of himself. That person, who is based out of the Ivory Coast, they now know, then used that video against Tevin and demanded money from him, or risk having the video shared and his family being harmed. Remember, he's a very responsible young man. As soon as this person knew that he had gotten through, he just started attacking him, according to the mother. Even after he sent money, and he did, and I really want the families out there to hear this, to have this conversation with your children. If they get themselves in this situation, they will never have enough money to make these people go away. And we need that conversation with our kids. Even after he sent money, all that he had, according to the investigator, the person extorting him, the threats continued. This time he was told he should go ahead and kill himself. The person who got to him was actually telling him, you should do this. You should end your life. You should take your life. Your life is ruined. If you don't, I'm going to ruin your life. You should take your life. All of those are on his phone after he sent that photo. He had made a rare mistake and he didn't know how to fix it. And he feared he was going to lose everything he had spent his whole life working on. So in hindsight, the family is saying they've looked at every part of this and they want you to hear it, which is why I'm sharing. He was scared, he was worried, he was concerned, but he didn't tell anyone. I mean, he had a lot of close friends that he didn't tell anyone. He kept it inside. Everything seemed really normal. I don't know how he hid it, because he didn't hide it, other things as well. He just loved to come and lay in our bed. We were close, we were affectionate, and we thought we were really open. This is his parents speaking in this case. So one of the things is the regular dinner didn't go right. They had ordered pizza and they didn't have their regular stuff. He went to his room to do his homework. They went to the grocery store. Everything seemed normal in this case. Now, of course, the family is changing their MO inside their house and checking everything. But as they looked at it, it was a type of offer Tevin hadn't made before, simply because he wanted to make sure and take care of his little brother. And he asked his younger brother if he wanted to go with him to a friend's later that week. We're coming to the end of the show, and I hope that these are helpful for you. I know it's a bit scary and intimidating, and I don't want anyone to ever think that this is okay. Talking about suicide is really, really scary. But we need to have these conversations with our children and have them often. If you are online, now third world countries are online, and it is kind of like a video game. The minute you send anything that's compromising out there, you're in danger. And I hope you'll promise me that you won't. But I also want you to promise me that if you do, even if you get caught in a deep fake where they're altered and it isn't you, I hope you will trust me enough to come to me and let me help you. And so this is really important, folks. There's a whole group of law enforcement out there looking to find these online predators and help you with these cases. If you think you have a situation going where your child is being exploited, I hope you will call law enforcement. Call your local law enforcement, maybe non-emergency number, and ask for the cyber crimes unit. But start to talk about this with your children. You can look up the Tevin Tobler case, Tevantobler. His family wants you to know. His family wants his life not to have been lost in vain. And I hope that you will look it up. We're going to do some more of these next week with various victims and who they were and how it happened so that you can be really up to date and help your children to be safe. My name is Opal Singleton. You can write to me at opal.org, not .com, opal at millionkids.org. And tell me what you think. Please follow us at millionkids.org Facebook and also online. Take time this week to put your arms around your family and let everyone know how important they are to you and that you love them. I'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.